All right, boys and girls, welcome back to another video. So, real quick, I just want to talk about something that's been brought up to me recently about getting to level 60. So, some folks are asking, especially free to play, because of the limited resources and stamina currently, especially with all the events going down and everything that's happening right now. Who do you focus on and why on character? So I'm going to give you my opinion. There's really no right or wrong answer here, to be quite honest with you guys, but there are some better choices in my opinion that have helped me, and I'm starting to streamline these characters a lot more often, and I'll give you guys the reasoning behind why these characters should be focused on first. And of course, when you're building your team, you want to always build a balanced team. You kind of need to build a balanced team. You need to usually have a debuffer, a healer, a buffer, and then a hybrid debuffer. Okay, and I'm going to talk about all three of those, and of course going to give you various options on what to go with. And we're going to base this on not the weapons that you have, but the weapons they possess, these characters possess overall, and the skills these characters possess overall. Okay, we're going to take summons out of the equation because anybody can equip summons, of course. We're going to use limit breaks as the main focus here. So I'm going to talk about the DPS first, okay, and I think that's the most straightforward one. So the top DPSs in the game currently, based on their weapon selection and what they possess, are going to be probably 2 or 3 units. We're going to talk about probably 3 of them. And some of these units will play multi-role, so you can use them in various different places, okay? So, actually, you know what? Let's make it 4. We'll make 4 units here as the top DPSs. So, first unit, of course, is going to be Cloud. I think that's pretty straightforward. Cloud is the best, in my opinion, physical damage dealing unit in the game, bar none. Only because he has some of the most important elements in the game in his arsenal. So the Murasame, the Maritime Sword. I mean, he's got the Zidane Sword now for non-elemental. He's got a ton of different options to use as a physical damage dealing unit. So if you are going up against a physical DPS fight, he's usually your go-to unit for that kind of thing. Okay, so the reason why Cloud also is really good is he has a very, very powerful single target limit break and cross slash, can do a ton of damage, and not to mention he's got a very good amount of debuffing and buffing weapons that you can use. So Cloud is going to be mentioned a couple times in this whole thing. So Cloud is a no-brainer in terms of leveling up. He should definitely be there. He's had some of the most banners out as well too in terms of like what's been available in the game. I think only second to probably Aerith, maybe the same even. But he's probably easily going to be the #1 DPS you have built up. And if not, it's going to be Sephiroth. Sephiroth came a little bit after Cloud, so he is in a little bit of a disadvantage in that regard, but he is the magic using unit in the counterpart to Cloud's physical. Now, Sephiroth can be built physical as well, of course, but he's got a lot less options than Cloud does, being specifically Dark Heavens, which is his main DPS sword, which is an arrow weapon that Cloud does not possess as an elemental damage weapon, right? So you can absolutely use Sephiroth here if you need to. So if you're looking for somebody to do a little bit more magic in terms of magical fights, Sephiroth is your go-to unit for sure. And the reason why is he's got, of course, the edge wings with the garb, which gives you insane ice damage, which also makes Shiva more powerful, but we're not going to, again, talk about summons. And he has a pretty decent limit break in AoE, and then the other one which actually boosts his physical and magical attack, making him more powerful. Now he just did get Mega Flare, of course, which also gives him an option of being a debuffer, but in terms of magical attacks, Shinra Blade is a great non-elemental magic attack, as well as, like I mentioned, the edge wings, and then he's got Ainobi, of course, to boost him up in terms of his magical powers as well. So Sephiroth is a no-brainer when it comes down to him being a lead DPS in the magic department. Now, I'm going to mention, I said 2 more, I might actually mention 3 more, just to be safe. Tifa is massive for DPS, and she is probably the most, in my opinion, the most valued unit in the game for many reasons. #1, she's got very powerful magic attacks. She's got very powerful physical attacks. She's got all the right elements in place. She has lifeguards for amazing healing, and she's got the best, in my opinion, debuffs in the game, not to mention one of the best debuffing limit breaks in Somersault. So if you're looking to build her as full DPS, you can absolutely do that as well too, with Motor Drive, Sonic Strikers, her brand new No Mercy attack, which again, unfortunately has a couple issues with the AI using it, but if you manual her, she can be an absolute beast on the offensive. So Tifa, definitely a unit you can use for many different purposes, and again, she'll show up in many different places as well too. Aerith, I would mention her, but I'm going to leave her out of this because she's most likely going to be a healer for you. You can absolutely use her as a magic DPS, but Sephiroth, I think, does a better job in that role anyways. The other one I would mention here is going to be Lucia. Lucia is a great unit for DPS, has everything you need from magic to physical, and can be used either or way. So don't sleep on Lucia. A lot of people haven't been noticing how good she is. The only thing that sucks with Lucia is her outfits. They've really been ignoring her for her outfits, so making it a lot harder to build her more powerful than you possibly can. But she has everything you need to be a top DPS unit in the game. And then lastly, the one I want to mention was Zac. Very good at physical, much better in magical. So if you don't want to build Sephiroth, but you do want a magical unit, you can absolutely build Zac, and he will carry you far enough. Not quite as good as Sephiroth, but still a very good DPS unit. But the top two I would build for DPS personally would be Cloud for physical, Sephiroth for magical. Those are my suggestions. But the other ones will all absolutely work really well. Okay, let's move on to healer. Pretty straight choices here, guys. You're going to have Aerith, #1 healer in the game by far. Fairy Tail, everything you need with Mithril Rod or the Chocobo Staff for free. Has the highest heals, has healing winds as a limit break, which is incredible for an emergency heal if you need that. And nobody else has that as well, by the way, just so you guys are aware. Another very good option, of course, is Matt with Prime Number, and his second limit break gives you guys a shield. Now, Matt can be used to also debuff as well, too, or buff with physical defense. Aerith can also be used to buff as well, too. So remember I said try to build a healer with buffer? These two do it the best in the game, easily. A third really good option, again, now is Cloud. So if you decide you want to build, let's say, Sephiroth and Tifa as your two main DPS, Cloud can actually hold his own now with healing and buffing as well too. So those are the two best units I would suggest for healing would be Matt and Aerith, and third would be Cloud. And believe it or not, a very close fourth would be Tifa as well too. As mentioned before, she can pretty much do it all. So I would put her in the same limelight as Cloud, maybe even a bit better than Cloud for healing. And then also, if you want to play the regen game, you can actually use Red 13 as well and regen and do magical defense on everybody as well too. So he is probably the worst one out of all of them, but I would say definitely go Aerith or Matt, and then Tifa, and then Cloud. Okay, so those are going to be your best healers. And then let's talk about debuffers. Debuffing is such an important part of this game now, and now we have a much better option. You can do 3 of the best choices, or let's say 4 of the best choices. So Tifa being #1. Nobody beats Tifa in this department. She's hands down the best debuffing unit in the game, and again, can do it all. In my opinion, MVP of the game right now with everything that she does. Second would be Barrett. Very powerful unit in damage as well as debuffing, so I would highly put him up there second. Close tie, maybe tied even here. I would say Red 13 third, maybe close to second as well too, because of his LB as well as all the weapons that he has to do debuffs as well. He does have Seaside Collar to help him out there. And then lastly, now because Sephiroth just got it, Kuja's sword, Sephiroth falls in last in line for debuffing here. So if you are looking for another debuffer, if you don't want to use Sephiroth as a main DPS and use him as a debuffing unit, he does have the ability now to debuff both magic attack and physical attack. But he can also be used as a buffer. He has a pretty decent buff. So you can use him as a hybrid build, DPS/debuffer, or if you want to use him as a debuffer, he can now do that as well pretty decently. But he's nowhere near as good as Tifa, Barrett, or Red 13 in that department. So they should be your main debuffing units for sure. All right, guys, this is Payne. I hope this helped out. So again, just to break it down, Cloud, Sephiroth, right? Main DPS, magic physical, main healers, Aerith and Matt, with, again, the honorable mentions that I did. And then lastly, the debuffers would be Tifa and Barrett or Red 13. Again, it's completely up to you guys. I'm just giving you my suggestion. Those are the units that have helped me out the most personally, and I think offer you the best bang for buck in those roles. But everyone can play every role now, so feel free, just have fun with it and enjoy. Those are my suggestions. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.